Joe?
There we go. Rebecca, would you roll call us, please?
Yes, Lauren,
I am here.
Pat,
Here. Thank you.
me, Rebecca, I am here. Mimi,
I'm here.
Joe,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I'm here.
I'm here. Mary Beth, I don't see her on the participant list, so I'm guessing she is not here. Brandon is also not on the participant list, therefore he's probably not here. Uh, Harry, it looks like he is not here either. We have very low attendance. June,
Here.
June is here. Mark,
Present.
Brian, is Brian here? No, Brian is not here. Uh, Dave, yes, right. Dave, are you here?
Yes.
All right, Richard. Nope, I do not see Richard here. Uh, Tara, no, and Francisco
I'm here.
and Paul.
Here.
Okay, let's see. We 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have exactly 10 people here.
And
Our,
including the alternates that are.
Yes, including the alternates.
who will definitely be seated then, because since we're missing some of the regular at-larges.
We
So
also have one vacancy on the committee.
we do. Lawrence dropped off. Is that how that worked, Rebecca?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But hey, elections are happening in 4 days, so or 5
Out
days.
of
Whatever it is.
curiosity, is anybody else on their second in a row vacancy? Or
Let me
absent?
see. I don't think so. I don't think anyone was absent last time. Let me check.
They
Okay,
came in
just,
eventually.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking. Okay,
I want to say Mary
all right.
Beth seemed like might have been, but I think she came in really, really
Yeah.
late at
No,
the
I think
last
Mary
meeting.
Beth left
Okay.
early and
Left
then Paul
early.
was
There you
seated.
go.
Yeah,
There you
everyone was here last time.
Are you saying Lawrence dropped out by non-attendance?
Yes.
go. Yes, I believe we have a rule about that in the OPM.
Yeah, he
The
said
bylaws.
he wouldn't be run for
Bylaws.
re-election. He has health problems.
Right. And
Yeah,
Brian, I
it was
know
3 in a row now. But
3.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, 3 today, but 2 last time, and he understood that, and
Yeah.
he's not running again.
All righty. Okay. So those of us who are here then, next on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Everybody take a look at the agenda. Are we messing with the agenda? We'll entertain a motion to mess with the agenda.
So moved.
Oh, to adopt the agenda, Paul?
To adopt.
To adopt.
Yeah.
All right, Paul has moved to adopt the agenda, not mess with it. Is there a second for adopting the agenda?
Second.
Second from Pat. Any objection to adopting the agenda? All right, we will proceed. Let's whip around the room real quick. Everybody just take 1 minute. Give us a highlight and a thing you learned. I had a great highlight. I'm wearing it. I had a friend here in town who said, you know what? My dad was a libertarian like forever ago, and he gave me this box of stuff. Here, you want this hat? So I am now wearing a Harry Brown for President ball cap
Oh,
from back in the day that was given to me by a friend. I would consider bringing it to convention, but it's a little yellowed. I have no idea who else has worn this hat, so
okay.
I don't know that this is something that I can credibly give away to anyone. But I thought that I would wear it tonight, just so that it gets some love. So that
It
was a
would
lot of fun.
probably make us money at the auction, by the way.
Really? Well, I'll bring
No,
it.
no, I don't think so.
But
Having
I
been
don't
in
know.
jail and warned about previously worn clothes, no, don't bring it.
I'm just saying, it would.
You haven't been in
Well,
jail, have you?
I'll bring it and we can all look at it and say, wow, that's amazing, but I don't want to put that thing on my
Maybe if you
head.
sign it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. The thing that I am learning is that, boy, planning for the convention is sure a cause for heartburn. That's where I'm at for that. So I will be on a low-key freak out from now till probably Monday. So that's where I'm at. Let's carry forward. Pat, give us a quick minute. What's
Oh,
awesome
quick
and what did you
minute. Well,
learn?
like Dave is going to take most of my minute because we did the test email to registered libertarians and it did not come out well.
Well, we actually have that on the agenda, so there's time to talk about that on the agenda.
I gave it a lot of thought and I decided, well, why give it too much thought because we'll have a convention with new XCOM members, but it will require a lot of thought. My emphasis has been on the Be Libertarian, which is doing okay, but it is not bringing in new members, which is very disappointing, but it is bringing in community. It is, I think, still worthwhile. It's just creating a community. Um, but I think I talking to Mimi, libertarians are kind of burnt out, and there's no burning issue that is bringing people to the Libertarian Party, and we need to think about that. And I'm going to wait until after the convention to do that. But I'm going to give all of us a kudos. I think we're all rowing in the right direction. There's no circular firing squad as there was a year ago. So good for us, but there's no stellar direction either. But we will work on that. So that's my report. I'm a little hopeful and a little disappointed at the same time. So
That sounds
thank
very
you to
libertarian.
everybody. Thank you to everybody. We're working together.
Absolutely. Rebecca.
Let's see. The convention, not convention. The credentials committee, we met a couple times. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but we do not have a lot of people signed up, so it's not like there was a ton of work for us to do. I've been trying to get more people to sign up to be national delegates, and we've had extremely low. Maybe no one wants to go to Grand Rapids. People should think about that when we pick the next convention location. Yeah. Oh, also, I have been working on my secretary's report. I believe there has to be a written report. It'll be done soon, basically the same as what Chris wrote last year because there's basically been no changes.
How
Have
does
you
the
heard
convention
anything?
look?
We actually have an agenda spot for convention discussion,
All right,
so we
good.
can
I'll
wrangle
wait.
that around.
I
All
will
right.
try to be patient.
I appreciate
Rebecca?
that.
Rebecca, have you heard from Chris Grenier? I'm starting to
No,
worry about
I
him.
haven't heard from him, and you know what? It doesn't matter. I will take care of it.
It-
That's all I have
Okay,
to say about the
I'm
credentials
a little bit
committee.
worried that something has happened to him at this point because the last we heard from him was that he was going away for the weekend and he would be back for the next meeting, and he's now missed 2 meetings. So
Interesting.
I'm worried.
I'll try and reach out to him too. In the meantime, Mimi, we're around to you. Give us a quick minute. What's awesome?
Well, there's what's awesome. I don't know. So I'm gonna I don't know this because I'm not looking at the agenda and I just finished the other meeting, but I just was on the LMC meeting and we are looking at, what Rebecca was just talking about, the next convention in 2028. I put it in our little signal chat about what's going on there. There's only 2 possibilities there. And then when we get to the convention for our convention, we can get there. I've been just trying really hard to work on still cleaning up everything that's in the treasurer stuff and, getting ready to work with Mike and Roy because he is going to be running for treasurer. And we were supposed to be working before this, but we didn't. But I've just been kind of pretty much going insane. So that's pretty much what I've learned. Thank you.
You're going in what?
Insane.
Insane.
Oh, insane. Okay, that seems to be the theme for the
That's
night.
right. That's the way we're headed, boy. I'll tell you.
All righty, Mimi.
All right, Joe.
Okay, so I've been working on several things. As you've all seen, I've been continuing my effort to document our membership statistics. There were a couple of interesting things there. There was a new registration report out from the Secretary of State, and I gave a report on summarized what was going on with us and the other minor parties. I also looked back at the history of our candidates for Congress and the other parties' candidates for Congress to compare those. You probably saw that. This, I think, and this is a whole larger discussion. I just want to bring it up here. The question of why our membership keeps going down, why our registration is now going down. I thought that Lauren's message about ICE was very good. It contained a lot of good ideas. some of which I could have written myself. Um,
It's
but when
amazing.
I, well, it's amazing coincidence, right?
It's amazing.
But I saw somebody, one of the first reactions I saw to it was, is this a membership recruiting thing? As if somebody thought that it was a good membership recruiting thing. And I looked at that and I said, this is a lot of good ideas and it is a call to action, but you know what it's missing? And this is not Lauren's fault. Um, it does not give anybody any reason to join the Libertarian Party. There was nothing that anybody, any of those actions that anybody could take, and there might be good things to do, that had anything to do with being a member of the Libertarian Party or an officer of the Libertarian Party or anything. And this is not a criticism of his statement because it was that's not, I don't think that's what its purpose was. But I think we need to think about what is it that makes a libertarian party and not just a libertarian party, a libertarian discussion group or a libertarian meetup, or a libertarian social media channel.
Can I
Okay, and
break in when you have a moment?
I have an answer to that
Okay.
you probably can guess because I've been harping on this for
Clueless.
months, and that is we have to have candidates. And you're not a political party unless you are engaged in the electoral process. And that gets into the next thing I wanted to mention, which is I've been tracking people who are filing for the primary, and I'm pleased to see that we have 4 candidates. It looks like that are going to go through and actually get on the ballot for Congress, which, based on that graph that I sent out, is better than we've done in some recent years, but nowhere near what we used to have, and we all know why. But the total number of candidates we have is still very small. I sent out the details of those people. If anybody hears of any more, I'd like to know about it. Along those lines, I also want to mention I spent a bunch of time in the last few weeks getting myself on the ballot for Congressional District 17, and I did get enough signatures on my self-petition to cover the nominating requirement, enough ballot. So that took a bunch of my time in the last month. And then the last thing I want to mention about what's been going on recently is we had our county annual meeting, and we reelected most of the same officers, including myself. We have a new treasurer, and we have 1 vacancy, but I consider that overall successful. And I just want to mention one other thing about our annual meeting because it relates to the concerns people have had about press releases and things. We had, I would say, 4 different things happen at our annual meeting that were worthy of a press release, including the ICE resolution, including the elections, including we endorsed 2 candidates for Congress because we have two candidates for Congress overlapping with our county, and we took positions on a whole bunch of other things. Not one of those things actually turned into a press release for the same reason as we have at the state level. Nobody went to the trouble of doing it. I announced all that stuff on Facebook and Twitter and on our website, but not an actual press release. So I think we've got an overall problem of, in order to have a press release, you got to have something happen that you can report, and you've got to have somebody write the press release. If either of those things isn't there, we're not going to be able to do any outreach to the media. So that's my report for the month.
All righty. Thank you, Joe. I'm going to get a little random here just based on the way that people are appearing on my screen rather than go down a list. So, Dave, you're the one that comes up next on my screen. So go ahead and give us a minute, Dave.
Okay, I took the time to write a report, so if you want the gory details, but the quick version would be I took the RFM, the recency, frequency, monetary value stuff, and applied that to the state list of lapsed members to come up with a new list. We already reached out, thanks to Paul and Mark, to 92 people. The new list has 480 people. And then some good stuff happened where both Riverside County and LA County decided they would be willing to make outreaches, so we don't have to do that at the state level. So we can deduct off some of those for those people. The second thing which added to the list for both of them was to take a look at national members who are not state party members. That should be another opportunity for us to try to get more people into the state party. So I did the analysis of that and added the top people from that to the list. We'll talk about the other things, Pat's outreach with going after brand new members from the registered libertarians and the UCLA opportunity a little bit later. The other thing I did, but I didn't publish because I don't quite know how to analyze it, is I looked at everybody that renewed or joined the party since December 1st. There were 106 people. 84 of them have LAL numbers for L2 identifiers. So I looked up collectively how those people view the different issues. And I was quite astonished to find that on social issues, a lot of the people in that batch of 84 people, for example, are not supportive of marijuana legalization. Some number of them are pretty hardcore on building a border wall. So the interesting aspects of the attitudes or psychographics of those people require a little more contemplation. So I'll probably put that out. That would be a lively discussion on the theories of why our renewing members have those attitudes. And of course, take all of it with a grain of salt because the L2 numbers aren't perfect. But I think that will be a good discussion to have maybe after the convention.
Well, fair enough. All right, and we'll look ahead to the stuff on the agenda with data sharing and all of that.
Yeah.
Mark, you are next on my list. Give us a quick minute.
All right. So one of the things I wanted to point out is in March, and depending on your county, this may differ by a week or so, but in San Mateo and Santa Clara County is the deadline for jurisdictions to submit ballot arguments for the June primary, largely, sales tax increases or for schools, parcel taxes and bond measures. And then the following Tuesday is the deadline to submit the arguments against. And one thing Mimi did a couple of years ago when she was chair, and she can refresh my memory, but weren't there like 30 or 40 ballot measures that the LP endorsed a no vote on and submitted arguments against?
Yeah, it was actually more than that. Yes.
A lot. So in dovetailing over what Joe said about, hey, what's the Libertarian Party doing for me? Well, here's a virtually no cost project that will get our name printed by government taxpayer expense with our contact information, our arguments. We can put web pages, phone numbers, you name it in the arguments, 300 words for the argument against and 250 for the rebuttal to the arguments in favor. And it just costs a little bit of time, no expenditure of funds whatsoever.
Mark, do you have a reference for where we can get the list of everything that's going to be on the ballot?
Yeah, your local registrar of voters.
I mean, that's just for my county. I mean, there's things all over the state. How could we get a list of all the statewide ballot measures?
There isn't. You have to go county by county. You have to go to your registrar.
Right.
Not
the
easy.
website Big Bad Bonds might have some of that information.
He no longer does it.
Oh, he does? Oh, okay. Sorry to hear that. But yeah, you got to go 58 counties. By the way, it's registrar of voters in the bigger counties, county clerk in the smaller counties.
Well, all right.
And most of those have their calendar posted, so you just have to check when the deadlines are. And I understand most of them now will allow you to submit the arguments remotely. You don't have to actually travel down to their office.
Well, that would be very handy.
Yeah.
All righty. We're moving along. June, give us the quick minute.
Well, the weekend of the 24th and 5th of February, I attended the leadership retreat for Cal RCV.
You probably mean January.
Yeah.
January.
Unless you're a time traveler. You have many talents, but time traveling, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what I was about to say was that I forgot to wear a mask and forgot how vulnerable I am as an immunosuppressed person to new germs. So I came home with a very bad cold and was not good for much for the next 2 weeks. And I really have to put out a thank you to Jane Hyder, who stepped in to help with some of the stuff on the credentials committee that I was supposed to do. And I'm not sure she was in much better health than I, but it was a big help. So you're not here, Jane, and neither is Lawrence, but thank you. So, besides that, I'm just trying to keep up with all the activity that's going on with electoral reform as usual. And there is a hell of a lot at the federal level as well as local levels. There are major efforts starting in Sacramento, San Diego, and Los Angeles right now is deep in a fight to try and preserve ranked choice voting in the recommendations of the Charter Commission. As far as at the national level, unfortunately, the first hearing on this new thing called the Mega Act, Make Elections Great Again, which appears to be Trump's first step in trying to federalize elections. It's going to get worse. We won't know how that hearing went because it was early today, but I'll put out something on the list when I get a report on it. But we got to stop this thing. I mean, it's really bad. It's not only unlibertarian, it's going to screw up all of the places that are already using ranked choice voting, including the military who depend on it for runoff elections so that they get their votes in time. So yeah, that doing something about that is and apparently the SAFE Act has also been reintroduced. That was one that just banned RCV. The Mega Act goes even beyond that with lots of other stuff. So nationally, there's a lot of stuff going on. The three big things going on in the states right now are Los Angeles, San Diego, and Sacramento. And all of them could use more people. If you know any people in those areas who might be interested in working towards ranked choice. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, well, not a whole lot to say here, but on the phone calls I made, not in the last month, but since we first started these phone call campaigns, I made 86 calls to lapsed members and 302 calls encouraging people to attend the convention. And that's about all I got to say.
Fantastic. Love to
Thank
hear
you.
it. Scanning on down here, it looks like Francisco, you're probably the last one tonight. Hit us with a quick minute. What's going on?
All right. So, just bouncing off what some of the other members here said, as far as what we're doing here in Fresno County, the ballot measures, we've submitted an argument against a measure it's a sales tax measure that's gonna supposedly for public service. But to Joe's point, that would be, I mean, that I think that would be a good direction for the party to lead in, and as far as like actually being a political party, he mentioned candidates, but the legislation wise, right, where it's the beginning of the legislative session, beginning of the year, so June brought up a good question, like how do we track these ballots and its measures and props, and it's just kind of hard because like other members mentioned, you gotta go to the county websites and just monitor it there. So I think if we could standardize that and have like standard formats for rebuttals and arguments against or arguments for some of these measures, I think that would really help out.
By the way, you can also call the county clerk and registrar of voters and just say, hey, is there anything pending?
Yeah.
They may
Yeah.
not like it, but they may not like it, but I think that ought to be a responsibility of the chair in every county. I don't know how we formalize that, but that's the easiest place to point a finger in each county.
Maybe with reminders from the state legislative committee. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else, Francisco?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Thank you. All right. So we'll move ahead to minutes from the last meeting. Has everybody gotten a chance to take a look at the minutes? Rebecca sent those out.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
I have a motion from Dave to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Paul. Any objection to approving the minutes?
I have a question.
A question from Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
One of the attendees is identified just as Brendan or something. I assume that's not the same as Brandon.
taker.
So who is that? Is it we don't know who it is, or he only goes by his first name, or what's going on there?
Well, I go by what they put on Zoom, and it just said Brendan.
So he was attending the meeting, but we don't actually know who he is.
Yes.
Okay.
It appears to
All
be
right.
gone.
I guess if we don't,
apologize if that slipped by. When people come in and don't have their whole name on, I've tried to make it a habit of asking them to put their name on. Apparently,
okay, I think
missed
that's
one.
probably a good idea because
Yeah.
most people are probably perfectly happy to identify themselves. But nobody here knows who that person was.
I didn't even see it.
Okay.
I imagine if we list him in the minutes as Brendan the Fed, he will totally let us know. He
Right.
will
Well,
let
if we
us know
don't,
if that's true or not.
if we actually don't know who he was, then we obviously can't fix the minutes to say so. But
Correct.
But I'm surprised that there was somebody on the call that nobody knew.
Wasn't he one of
I would
the
suggest-
wasn't he?
go
Sorry,
ahead.
wasn't he a candidate with I believe he was the fellow that was at the past convention that he's making a presidential run in
No, that was
2028.
Derek.
Oh,
No, that was
Derek.
Derek.
Oh, okay.
I would suggest taking that person off because we don't know who it is. We don't have a last name, and
Is it
I
Brendan
have no
Jackson?
recollection.
Well, but it does show that there was
Well-
somebody there. You can put it in quotes
Yeah,
to say there was a
Brandon
person with this
Jackson
name.
was
But
there as person who's a person on
Yeah.
the XCOM. So that's
My
not
guess
him.
it was Brendan Jackson.
No,
no.
he was there separately.
no,
he was
Brandon
already
Jackson
there. This
is
is a
our
different-
is also listed. A separate
All right,
person.
I don't know.
Right. This is a different person.
I mean, I had a guess, but I didn't bother asking. I was guessing it was Brendan, the guy in the Whitcom, Brendan McMillian.
Oh.
It probably
Oh.
was. He's usually on it, but his
Oh, well,
But I
but
didn't
wouldn't you
ask
have
him.
recognized him
well, he didn't say
oh,
anything.
since he was
you know
from?
what? You're right. That was who it was. You're correct. That is who it is.
Well, then I move to amend the minutes to show that's who it
But
was.
but he didn't write down his name or talk or show his face or anything.
Well,
We
but the
have no
minutes
proof
aren't.
it was him. I was assuming it
But
was
he-
him.
But
Somebody.
he actually had chimed in on the email. I 100% believe that was him.
All right, then again I move that we change the minutes to say to put his full name. I don't think the minutes are supposed to just be quoting people's screen names. They're supposed to be identifying the people, and we apparently know who it was, so we should identify him that way.
I'll second. You're muted, Lauren.
Okay, thank you. So we've got a motion and a second. Motion from Joe, second from Paul to amend the minutes to make Brendan McMillian. Am I understanding that correctly, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have an objection to doing that? All right. Then, Rebecca, if you would please just adjust that. That brings us back to the motion to approve the minutes, which has been moved and seconded. With that amendment in hand, is there an objection to approving the minutes? All righty. We'll call those minutes approved. And then we will move to the great shake and bake moment of any libertarian meeting, and that's public comment. Do we have anybody here who would like to publicly comment at this meeting? Raise your hand or something. Let me know. Okay, we'll go ahead and pass that along then. We'll move ahead to the treasurer's report. Mimi, what do you got?
So, well, I will send the report, but just in general, we've started out the year. We did our FPPC report timely. The FEC report, I believe, was done. I looked again today and it was done, but we got a thing from the FEC saying it wasn't. So I'm looking into that. I've talked to Kathy about that. I'm not quite sure what happened. The really good thing about FEC versus FPPC is that there is no fine for a late report. So that's a plus, but I don't know why it's showing that it wasn't sent. And I also found it interesting that the chair got that that notice, but the treasurer did not. The treasurer email didn't, and that's what's on the FEC as far as who's the treasurer. So that was weird too. I've done the dues sharing for the second half of last year. I've sent out emails to all of the counties, and I'm trying to get all the counties to actually use the ACH way of giving them the dues sharing, because when we use the bill paid check thing, we don't know if they don't do it for like 3 months, and that's kind of a problem. So I'm trying to move to the ACH, and I've gotten responses from from some of the counties at this point, but all of that has been done, and that will be on the written report that you guys see. But I can tell you really quickly that the amount for this particular thing is, I'm not going to go and look because I've got too many things open. So today's balance in our account, we have $100,381.60 in the LPC account, $26,014.91 in the FEC account, $11,496.40 in the CSC account, which is a total of $137,892.91. The things that are pending right now is we've got a $5,000 donation from L2 that's pending, that's going to be coming in via ACH. And we also are going to have an expenditure for the convention, which is going to be in the neighborhood of $20,000, which has not, it was processed today, but it hasn't gone through our account. So those are the balances. So that's pretty much the Treasurer's report. Are there any questions?
Can you kind of explain that $20,000 for the convention?
I can explain it. It's for the food, and I will also, when we get to the convention, I will mention this, but this is not going to be a really well attended convention, it appears.
How many people are signed up?
Lauren, is that a separate agenda item?
Yes, in fact, it's
Yeah, I
next.
think
It's
so.
next. So we can go ahead and move into convention discussion here.
All right.
Unless there's others general.
Unless there are further questions for the treasurer regarding the treasurer's report specifically. Any other questions for any treasurer specific? Okay, so let's go ahead and advance to convention discussion. Pat, carry on. You were in the middle of asking a question.
I sympathize with Mimi greatly because I put on a lot of conventions and I know how stressful they are. So, I mean, it was done differently because back then it was the person who put on the convention gained the profit or suffered the loss. So that's not how it is done now, but I certainly, the stories I could tell you. So Mimi, how is it going? Can you give us an honest, I appreciate, Mimi, what you've done. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. So I appreciate what you've done. Because it's not easy, and I know exactly how hard it is.
Okay, so let me go to I wanted to, make sure that we were done with the treasurer's report first before we went to this.
Right.
So right now, I will tell you that it is not a greatly looking attended convention. And one of the things that really is sad is that I thought that with the convention, with the contract that we had with 80 room nights per night with shelter dates, we would have no problem meeting that commitment. We did not meet that commitment. Therefore,
where are we at?
We are. Can I finish, or do you want to keep asking me questions?
Oh, I wanted both. I want both.
I'd prefer to just talk and then you can ask me the question.
Okay, Mimi, got it.
Okay, thank you. So we did not meet that room night commitment. So therefore, rather than just saying, okay, fine, we'll pay for it, we booked those rooms. I have been trying to actively sell those rooms, and I've sold some of them already. So I've sold some of them, but I have not sold all of them. Right now, what we are paying to the convention or to the hotel is $20,626, which is going to come out of our account probably tomorrow. And that includes the food and beverage, and that includes the room night. What we have brought in is approximately at this moment, excuse me, one thing. We've brought in about $16,000. So right now we're at a deficit of $4,000 right now.
That's not bad.
So we have some other expenditures, which I don't know if it's completely considered convention, but we've got airfare for like JJ, which is quite a lot of money. We've got his fees, which is not as much money, but some of that is coming out of it. I'm hoping we've got some really good auction items. And by the way, Mike Van Way is going to be bringing the ones from Terry Floyd, which are great auction items. I'm hoping that we can actually make some money. I'm still really optimistic that we will at least break even. But I will tell you that the numbers are not there of the number of people coming. And then some of the people that were coming for sure, like, you know, I mean, I'm not going to give names, but I got a call today from somebody who he and his wife both are really sick right now. They had everything set up to come, and they're not coming now because they're really sick. Another person had everything set up, and he found out he has a midterm on Monday, so he can't come. It's like everything is going wrong with people showing up. And I think the other part of that is that people are burnt out because of the timing of last year's convention versus this year's convention. It was such a short period of time, but because of the national convention coming up, we had to have the convention. Having it on Valentine's Day, you know, not great. Seriously, because there's people that are not really excited about that. But I do want to give you guys some like things that I think are exciting about the convention, and you can try to get more people to come with this. Is we've got the LNC chair debate, which I think is going to be really great. We've got Free and Amity from, you know, Freedom Uncut coming. Are you smarter than a politician? Lauren, myself, and Lars were on the show a couple weeks ago, and it was super fun. And by the way, that particular show was in their top 10 of most views. In the first 24 hours, it had like 38,000 views.
It's got a lot of views. Yeah.
Wow.
Good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we rocked
so that
it.
was really
Because
exciting.
Mimi's awesome, and I'm
Yes.
awesome, and Lars is awesome, and everybody's awesome. It was awesome. There you go.
It was
Sorry.
truly awesome. It was a lot of fun. And I hate being on camera for stuff like that, but it was a lot of fun. So so it's going to be really fun for what we're doing for the LNC debate, which is, I think, important because, you know, we're going to be, you know, going to Grand Rapids, but we're not going to do it quite the same as the normal show, which is where there's the, you know, online audience participation of giving the plus and the minus 100 points or whatever. Instead, what we're doing is we're giving each person that comes in a little packet, which is really cute. It's little love packet things that have porcupines in it of different colors, and people are going to vote with their porcupines. And by the way, they really are, you know, hedgehogs, but they look very porcupine. So that's going to be really fun.
Same family.
And what we've also done is that we can't add any more people for the meal packages, but we're adding an audience section for people to come in and be able to watch that debate. And we've sold some tickets for that already. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I think it still can be successful. It's just a little scary right now, and I'm disappointed that we didn't make our room night commitment, because in the many years that I've been involved in planning conventions, this should have been a no-brainer, so it's kind of sad, and that goes into what like Dave and everybody else is doing with the membership committee. I want to give a huge shout out though to Paul and Jessica Tewksbury. They, between the two of them, called like 500 people to try to get them to this convention. I kept begging for people to make phone calls. The two of them were amazing. So that's my report.
Excellent.
Well, let me just say,
Okay,
Mimi, I appreciate.
Wait,
hold on just a second, Pat.
Oh,
Ken, raise your hand.
June
Come on.
June has had her
I don't
hand
know
up
how
for
to
a
raise
bit.
my hand.
June's had her hand up. Let me go to June,
All
and then we're
right.
going to
It's
come
under
back to you.
react. It's under react. Look
Okay.
under react.
Go ahead,
Okay.
June.
First,
June and then
Mimi, I
Pat.
know I'm glad you're still alive. I mean, I know how hard it is to run a convention. But one thing I was a little bit concerned about when I was working on the press release is that our major speakers all sort of looked like they were leaning on the conservative side. Now, some may think religious freedom is a personal liberties issue, but it's the conservatives who are usually worried about it. So I would have liked to have seen a little more balance, especially with all the stuff going on with immigration right now. I really wish we could have had something more along those lines, but it's not a criticism. I know it's a hard job and you got what you could. So that's that aside. The next thing is for Rebecca. Are we having a meeting of credentials tomorrow?
No, we're not having another meeting. I will take care of everything.
Okay, before you go, Jim, before you go into like other stuff, I want to respond to you a little bit on your thing about our speakers. One of the things we decided to do that was slightly different this year was to try to not spend a whole lot of money on speakers. Because, and by the way, this was a Adrian Malagon thing. This was something he wanted to do. But it kind of makes sense, is let's try to have people that are, more local. So yes, First Liberty, they are religious, yes, but I think it's really important what they're talking about. They've actually gotten things to the Supreme Court, and this is about things like bodily autonomy, like vaccinations and stuff like that. So I think to say that it's super conservative is weird. The local, the San Diego Gun Owners Association PAC, I think that's actually pretty important for the libertarian, for the liberty movement. So I think that we do have good speakers. I really do. And I think that having the people from Are You Smarter Than a Politician, I think is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm actually very happy with our speakers. And we also have Lars Mapsteed as our keynote, who I think is, amazing. He's running for office. He's done a lot of stuff. So I want to push back on that.
I didn't mean it as criticism, Mimi. Like, I know it's hard and I know you're trying to save money. It's just when I looked at the press release after it's written, it just looked a little lopsided to me. Maybe, I'm not sure maybe if we put more about what Lars was going to say or something that might have balanced it, but it just bothered me. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not a criticism.
Okay, am I up?
Yes, go ahead, Pat.
I'll be very brief. Mimi would be in a lot of trouble if it weren't for you. I think you did a great job, and I appreciate it a whole bunch.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rebecca, I did get delegate ribbons in. Those came in today. So I have pink ribbons with hearts on them for our Valentine's convention.
Yay!
So, so that'll be fun.
And the bags of the porcupines are pink with gold hearts of what people get for their keepsake. And we're also going to have, we're giving away silk roses to everybody at the convention banquet.
Hey, why not?
This
Lean
is
in.
going to be fun.
All right. Is there anything further we need to talk about discussion the convention? As a general urging, I would urge everybody to, of course, stay optimistic, stay positive. It's going to be real easy for us to hear from people over this weekend saying things like, "This seems really small," and "This is lame compared to whatever." And it's going to be really important for us to not encourage that, for us to stay optimistic, for us to stay positive, right? Going forward and going through this thing. Joe.
Yeah, I have questions on a couple of things, but Mimi wanted us to wait until the end. So, can you just confirm what I think you're saying is that there was a bunch of money that we would have had to pay if we didn't have enough room nights, and what you decided to do instead of paying that penalty was buy the room nights.
Yes.
Enough room nights to eliminate the penalty. Is that what you did?
Well, it's still basically a penalty because we had to buy the room night.
Right, but
we
then you can potentially use the room nights. But
correct.
rather than just paying them cash as a penalty, you bought the room nights, and if we don't use them, then it's the same thing. But we could use them, and then we'd make money back. Okay, fine. All right.
And by the way, Jesse Thomas, who is on this call right now from San Diego, he is one of the lovely gentlemen who bought one of those room nights.
Salute to Jesse. You're amazing. Sorry, carry on, Joe.
Next question is, can you quantify the shortfall in your expectations of attendance? I don't mean room nights. I know we don't know until people show up how many people are actually there, but like how many people have registered in any sense?
What I can tell you is from the phone calls that were made, we've got, and this is via phone calls. This isn't necessarily what the credentials committee has. And
right.
I've shared the screen, I've shared this to other people. Right now, I mean, I've shared it to everybody in this committee. I believe we're at, so many tabs open. I believe we're at about 76 people. I know, I'm fairly certain it's going to be more than that, but that's what we're at for what we have from our phone calls.
And that's including people who register only for business? I mean, I don't think I registered for business yet. So are you counting me, for example?
You're counting.
Okay. So
this is from phone calls. I'm giving you the phone call thing.
Okay. So that's your best estimate.
And I put you on as somebody that I called.
Right. So 76 people, including people who are only for business. How many people have signed up for packages or meals?
Well, I can actually tell you that because I've got all of that information. Give me a second. And the spreadsheet. Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. Okay, so we've got 56 people for the banquet. I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's about it depends on the thing. So we've got like for the total number of people that signed up for packages, we are at 87, but some of those are duplicates. Or no, actually 97, and some of those are duplicates. As far as who's been called that say they're coming, that's 74 people attending. Which could certainly.
It seems odd that you have fewer people coming than bought packages.
Well, as I said, some of those are duplicates. The way that you buy packages is weird. If you're buying
somebody who bought a lunch and a breakfast, but they did it as two separate things. You can't. So those are not people; those are purchases. Right. Okay. So
purchases,
you don't.
Right. So and I'm just looking at the spreadsheet. So like I can tell you, Gary Bryant from
Nevada.
I think Nevada. He bought 4 things because he did
Okay, so that's not a useful number. Okay, so 56 for the banquet and 76 total people that you are expecting to come based on all the information you've got. Now I have a different topic. I had a couple of questions about the debates. There are 2 debates. There's a LNC chair debate and a governor debate. How many people are going to be debating in those? Is it how many LNC chair candidates do you expect to have?
3.
Okay, and how many governor candidates? Is it just the two I've been talking about,
2.
or is there somebody else?
There's 2, and it's not the 2 you've been talking about. It's Andrew Cross and Tom Woodard. Nicholas is not coming. He was supposed to come, and he just let me know that he is not coming. And I actually offered to help him come, but he's not coming.
Okay, and so who is the one that is coming, who I don't know about?
Andrew Cross, which we've talked about in the past, he's the one that was on the Liberty Blues podcast. He will be there.
Do you have Andrew Cross?
Mm-hmm.
CROSS?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe it's crossforliberty.com or something like that. I'd have to look it up, but it's something like that.
Okay, I should have been tracking him then. Okay, and then I'm wondering about it looks like the LNC chair debate you've programmed to be part of the lunch event, and it's a paid thing for
Correct.
everybody, even the people who don't eat, while the governor one is not a paid event. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, okay. I'm wondering why you chose to make the LNC chair debate make it a paid event, and since it's like
it wasn't my
political
decision.
thing,
It was the committee. Right. It was not my decision. It was committee decision. And the reason that they decided that, and yes, I'm on the committee, but I'm just saying it was not just my decision, is because the governor debate is something that on Sunday there will be a motion to endorse a governor candidate. That would be the entire delegation, and we thought that that was more important to have as a free event.
Okay.
At that time we first originally did it, we thought there was going to be 4 candidates. Now there's only 2 that are going to be there. There is still there's only 3 people running. Nicholas is still running. He's absolutely still running. He's just not going to be at the convention. So he could still be endorsed. But that was the reason, is because we felt that that was something that was a California specific thing, and we didn't want to make that a paid event. The LNC chair debate, we thought would be, something that's more inside baseball, and also it was going to be fun because of the Are You Smarter Than a politician? And we thought that we could actually make some money off of that. What we've done since then is we are going to have an audience area for that, where people that didn't want to buy the lunch can actually buy a ticket to actually watch the debate, or they can watch it after the fact, because we are going to be recording it and putting it on YouTube afterwards.
Okay, that's fair then. I don't really need a porcupine sticker, but I would like to know what they said. Okay, those are my questions.
And they're not stickers; they're really adorable little tiny porcupines. I mean,
Whatever.
These things
Whatever.
Are so
The
cute.
part of these things that matter to me is what the people say, and I think a convention, to me, the primary purpose of the convention is to debate things, hear people speak about our party business, and the LNC elections are indirectly our party business. So putting them behind a paywall strikes me as a little odd, but as long as you're recording it and we'll make the recording available, then whoever's a national delegate will have a chance to see it. So that's fine with me. You just don't get a porcupine.
I'm going to give you one just because, by the way.
Oh.
But anyway, we're done.
If there's
Okay, those are my questions.
If there's one thing better than all the awesome business that will happen this weekend, it's all the awesome business happening this weekend and a porcupine.
Ooh.
That's just like that extra piece that's going to put it over the top. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Anything further on the convention, or are we all feeling comfortable with, or at least we feel like our questions have been answered about what's going on into the weekend? Okay. All right, so we'll move ahead then. Next on our agenda, I have here L2 Neon Outreach Plan, Pat Wright, Dave Schrader. So, Pat,
I think
you
you want Dave. Dave's the detail guy.
okay?
He puts
Dave.
me to shame.
Okay, did
Oh,
so
worth noting, sorry, Dave, before you get going, looks like Terry Floyd is just now coming in, and I believe I saw Richard Stafford come in too. I think we still are seating Francisco and Paul. I think we're missing enough people that Francisco and Paul are still in, but I just wanted to note that they're here. All right, go ahead, Dave.
okay, did something pop up on your screen?
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so there are two kinds of membership activities. One is reaching out to brand new people to join the party, and that's what we'll talk about first. And then there are the lapsed member outreach efforts, which I documented in the write-up report that I distributed. So we aren't going to talk so much about that. So this kind of kicked off with this information from an email from Pat. So Pat, you want to go over the idea, the theory?
Pat, did you want to talk about the genesis of the idea before Dave gets into the details?
Well, yes, we were hoping that emailing registered libertarians would work, but it did not. We were hoping for about a 1.2% membership rate. We sent out 1,000. Now it's really kind of hard. I mean, one of the problems is, understanding Neon. Neon is a very complicated database. I saw one person come through that was a member based on the 1,000, so that's a 0.01% response rate, which is one less than one-tenth of what we wanted. But I don't know. I mean, Neon is mysterious, but I'm going to say that no, it did not work.
Yeah. So instead of doing a blast to like 28,000 people, which was the original idea, we ratcheted that back. And the idea was let's do a first test with 1,000 people and let's break it, given previous work, into people who are 18 to 45 and then higher than 46. And let's try to pull people out of the L2 database since we have that great tool and test about 1,000 people. So that's what I ended up pulling and giving to Pat to load into Neon. Um, we ended up actually with 992, so there were 476 in the outreach for younger people and 516 in the outreach for older people. Pat generated some imagery and also some text, which looks something like this, walking on a tightrope. And it's 2 pages of text. So
No, it was one page each. We tried to keep it limited because people have limited attention spans, me included. So tried to get to the point.
right. And make the right points.
Sort of.
So before it went out, just for grins, I did look in L2 for the 1,000 people that we pulled out. What were the ages? And you can see in the upper left, they were pretty uniformly distributed. There are questions in there about whether you're anti-Newsom or anti-Trump. You can see the distribution of the 1,000 people, starting with people that like Newsom or like Trump, but you can see the numbers go up over a period of time. And then the other thing from past work was our active members tend to vote. So one of the screens to get it down from 235,000 down to a reasonable number was people who vote 75% of the time. So that was the set of 1,000. We still have like more people that we could text, but we wanted to see how that worked. So here are the numbers Pat gave me. They're straight out of Neon, so you can see a bunch of detail which might be too small for you to read. So I summarized it at the bottom. So out of the younger group of 476, 16 of them had bad email, so they actually went to 460 or 96.6%, which is not bad. Out of those, 73 people did opens, but some people opened multiple times. So there are 57 people that are unique, which is a 12% open rate, which I don't think was too far off of Pat's original goal. Then 8 people clicked. Some people clicked more than once. So there were 7 unique ones of those, which is a 12% click-through rate for the younger people. However, when you look at what they clicked on, 6 of them went to the unsubscribe part of the website, and only one of them went through to LPCA. And we don't know if that person actually joined the party. So since the goal was to find joiners, that's the very disappointing part of the calculation. For the older people, 516 were in the target. Again, pretty good 94% rate on the emails working, 13% open rate, about the same, a 6.3% click-through rate. But again, with them, there were only 4 of those, 3 unsubscribed, and only one went to the website. So if you put those all together for nearly 1,000 people, you can see the numbers here. And I would say that's pretty disappointing.
Yes.
Probably need to take a look at maybe trying different messaging techniques would be my recommendation. I think we
You
should
know, can I
continue.
ask at this point? I want to ask a question of Mimi, who warned me previously that if we email people who have not opted in, we're going to destroy our sender reputation. And that really kind of scares the crap out of me. So, Mimi, what have you to say about that?
It's best to email people that have opted in, but because we're a political party, we can email once so long as it has proper opt-out. We can email exactly once registered voters that we get from the voter registration database that we get from the Secretary of State, which is through L2. We can do that exactly once.
Once
But
per
it
year?
still can, no, exactly once per person.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were already screened out. This is the detail in the file that I gave
Well,
Pat. So they
this
had
was
to,
this was a very clean list that you gave me.
right.
And it was a
They
very small list too, and they were highly I can't think of the word categorized, and
yeah.
they still didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this page, it gives you the criteria that I used with L2. So they had to have been a registered libertarian in California who votes 75% of the time with an email address. And then there's a column in L2 that says, do these people tend to be email responsive? And I screened out people on do not call and I think do not email. The other thing I forgot to mention was we thought this might get a better response because we picked the counties or the congressional districts that were in the gerrymandered Lars Nyberg outreach effort. So they already got one physical piece of mail. So we thought maybe that would warm them up and we would get a better response, but it really did not work. So that's the results from this effort. I think after the convention, Pat and I agreed we'll regroup, assuming we're still working on this stuff, and maybe we try some different messaging techniques. Because
A different audience?
I don't think the open rates were bad, but maybe the messaging wasn't working for some reason. And maybe it needs to be, we could try harder hitting messaging, talking about some of the issues people talked about before. We do know from previous work that older and younger people have different issues on their minds.
Well,
So,
Dave, let me ask you a question. I mean, these people who are registered libertarian, how libertarian are they? It seems that the response is rather disappointing. They're not that libertarian. They don't have a good understanding of what being libertarian is.
or they're crabby libertarians who
Well, that's me.
just are curmudgeons if they're in the older group.
Crabby libertarians, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked, I say.
But the point is, this is all experiments. So this
It
experiment
is. And it was a good experiment. So thank you, but it was disappointing. But I don't think we have the answer to is like, who are these people and what do they believe in? Just because they're registered libertarian, they're not that libertarian.
I think that speaks to the importance of some varied messaging. Different stuff will resonate with different people. Yeah.
We got work to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
And I
Pat,
think
when you were state chair and you doubled the size of the membership, that was virtually all direct mail. Is that correct?
It was, and I wanted to ask you, but there's not enough time, and like we're switching over in a few days. is a direct mail appeal worthwhile? And direct mail is so much more expensive now than it was then. But if you go into Neon, there are a lot of people who don't have email addresses who are expired. Could we do a direct mail approach to those people? So I don't know, and I don't think that's a question to ask today. It's a question to ask after the convention over the weekend.
Yeah. One thing I've mentioned before is maybe we use different channels for different people. So maybe older people appreciate getting physical mail. So we do a test there. Younger people typically are texters. So maybe we try that. But we could do side-by-side experiments to see which channels work and also which messaging works. On your comment, Lauren, that preliminary look at the people who renewed was a little bit frightening because they didn't score that well on the Nolan score of social and economic things. And I didn't break that out by age, but I could easily do that. So more investigation is merited, more testing is merited, but at least we're doing things like Pat was saying.
Yeah, excellent. Mimi, you have your hand up.
I just wanted to say that I think that direct mail, as much as people don't like it, they think that it's not needed anymore. It works really well. I think that National is finding that. I think that we found that at the state party. I think after the convention, it's something that should be looked at because direct mail, typically you get like a good return on your investment. Like if you spend $1,000, you're probably going to get $3,000 to $4,000 back. So I think that whatever happens after this convention, I think that that's something that should be looked into because it really does work. And I know that it was brought up, so I just wanted to say that that is something that
yeah. And the phone calling
it works very well still. And it's not even about demographics of older versus younger even.
Yeah.
It's just that people like occasionally getting something cool in the mail.
Well, Mimi, can we pull from Neon, which still mystifies me, expired members who have a good physical address to mail to?
Yeah. It's all
Okay,
there.
well, let's talk about it after the convention. I think it'd be a good investment. We need a nonprofit mail permit, which is a $250 fee. Last time I checked, and it was about 11 cents per letter. Post. I don't even know. I spent $13 to send a envelope to New York yesterday. So let's see what it's worth.
So long as after the convention I still have access to Neon, we can certainly
Oh,
make
Mimi,
that
I'm going to
happen.
vote for you.
For what? I'm not
I don't know, whatever you
I
want.
don't know.
I'm your biggest fan. I'm not doing the convention, and you are, so that makes you God.
No,
Well,
it
we'll
is.
see what happens.
She's earned that title.
Yeah,
Okay.
or goddess. I don't know.
All right. Anything further on this item? Any more questions for Dave, Pat?
What to do?
All right, work to do, but it's great. The work's got to get started. This is how
Oh,
it
good
starts.
Lord.
And it's going to be gnarly for a while we figure it out, but it's got to get started. And I
Thank
applaud you
you,
guys for
Lauren.
doing it. Absolutely.
I did nominate you for Listener of the Year,
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's what I
And
do.
Can I add one more thing? I just realized I put up a slide I didn't mean to, but since it's there. So one thing when you do the modeling, I mentioned the RFM modeling. When I pulled the list of 1,000, we pulled some information there, and you would expect that out of the list, we would, if you just took the list of current members, this was from a different kind of thing. It turned out that it did predict at a higher rate compared to a random rate, the people that made it into the population that we were testing. So that was good news on the RFM modeling. Anyway,
Dave, can you explain that a little bit more? Because I've been drinking wine and I'm a little slow.
so when I pulled the list for you,
Okay, the 1,000.
yeah, I had to screen out people because they were current members. So we didn't
Okay.
want to reach out to them. And then I was going to throw it away. And I thought, well, actually, if the RFM model is predicting people that could become current members, let's see how many people made that list, right? So if you take the 233,000 and only 346 are party members and you do the math to divide it, you get a really small number. But if I apply that to the the younger group, not the top of number, but the total number in those gerrymandered districts. I would have expected to see 5.31 current members in there, but we saw more. And we especially saw more for the older group. So the model predicted out of that older group with all those screening functions on 4,400 people, I would have seen 6.53 members, but we actually saw 21, which means that the RFM model is picking out people that are more likely than not to become members compared to a random sample. That's called lift in marketing terms. So the idea is if you create a model and apply it to a list that you're going to target, if the lift is any good, it'll do better than a 50-50 coin flip. And it did for both younger and older. It did better for older than younger.
There's no test at the end of this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just standard marketing practices.
All right.
Okay. You want to move on?
Yeah. Are there any further questions on this, or should we move forward? All right,
Okay.
let's move forward, Dave, into your other data sharing proposals. This is kind of a catch-all thing, so I'm going to let you go.
Yep. Okay. So I sent out a little write-up, and Joe, thank you for the responses on that. I think June gave a response too. Basically, the summary was we have a student who wants to form a UCLA club, so I met with him face to face. And the question he had was how many students at UCLA are libertarians, registered libertarians? Now, that one's a little bit of a trick question because there's a lag and kids graduate and move out of the dorms. So there weren't that many, to be honest. So I took all the zip codes for Westwood and surrounding area, and it turned out there were about 180 in that list. So I have that list. I did not give it to him because I wanted to run everything by this group before I give out any data items. I did vet him. He's Chinese, but he has been in the United States since his freshman year of high school. He did 2 years in Tacoma, 2 years in El Segundo. Here in LA, he went to UCSD for 4 years, and now he's in a first year of a 1.5 year program. So he's only going to be at UCLA for 1 more year, but totally intent on creating a libertarian club. I did look to see if there were chapters of YAL, Young Americans for Liberty. Their answer is there was, but they aren't active anymore. Same thing at USC. So we don't really have any school chapters that I know of. So that was the first question of how can we help him? Can I just give him the list of the 180 and he can do the reach out to them and run with it? He did say, because he's only there 1 more year, he'd like to get a full slate of officers, some speakers. We talked about our governor candidate. He's more than willing to invite them to come talk. He's willing to have me give a talk on how to use data within political parties. So very well intended. And the idea is to grow the club so it sticks around even after he graduates. So everything he said sounded great to me. So the question with him was, do I give him the 180 people or do we run using our tools the effort for him? And do I need to have him sign an NDA? And then the other one, kind of a similar one, is I've been talking to Tom Woodard for governor, and Gardner Osborne reached out for my help. So these are candidates coming in that want help. I guess one question is, given some years we've had candidates that are kind of last minute unknowns, who vets them? Is that the job of the candidate support committee? Or do we need an endorsement by the convention this time, which is how it's sounding? And then I can help them by pulling the data. And again, with those candidates, do they run their own effort with their tools, or do we do things for them? And I don't know the legal requirements. So that was part of the motivation. So Joe Dean pointed out rightly that the bylaws talks about giving out information to people requires 3 officers at the state level. or 2 for a county activity. That raises a question of whether the UCLA effort is an activity sponsored by LPCA or LA County. And for any of these people, do I need to have them sign an NDA? By the way, I did get from LP of Florida a much shorter version of their LP Florida NDA, which might be appropriate, so I could redo that. And then, but the core issues are really, do they run the outreach? Do we run the outreach? And then are there any accounting $ numbers, which Mimi, do you want to jump in and explain that have to be recorded?
Mimi, your hand is up anyway, so go ahead.
You're on mute.
Whoops, sorry. Okay, yeah, you brought up a bunch of stuff, and I just wanted to raise my hand because I have answers for some of that. As far as membership database information, that's the part that per our bylaws requires 3 officers. That's not L2 information. That's totally different. L2 information, if we share that with a candidate, that is considered an in-kind donation. And so, and in the past, it's always been the candidate support committee that has determined that. And we've, in the past, only given that information to candidates that have been endorsed by the state party, either by the convention or the executive committee. But the reason why I say that it's an in-kind donation because they have to have an FPPC committee, and we have to actually show that as an in-kind donation, which has a dollar amount associated with that. And I believe that it's 2 cents per record. And we're allowed to do that. It has nothing to do with L2 because L2 actually is using our information. They pull the data on behalf of the Libertarian Party of California. It has nothing to do with L2 for that part of it. It has only to do with us, but we still have to consider it a in-kind donation with that same dollar amount. So they have to have an FPPC committee because unless they're doing, less than, whatever it is, $1,000 worth of records, they would then they would have to then do a 410 to be a FPPC committee, which is probably more information than you needed. But yeah, there are considerations for that. And those are the considerations, but it's not the thing. Only membership database information is the 2 of 3 or 3 of 4 officer thing.
That's helpful. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted everybody just to hear this discussion, even though you and I talked, so people are educated. So it sounds like for UCLA, there's no issue giving him the 180 people out of L2. Does this need to be sponsored officially?
Actually, so to give him the 180 people out of L2, I do believe that would need a motion, but that wouldn't be that wouldn't be an in-kind donation, but he would have to sign an NDA.
Okay.
Joe, you have your hand up.
So I think we should step back on this campus organizing thing. Before we think about giving them anything, I think we should understand the relationship of this organization to the party. If this is supposed to be a party activity, this is like libertarian voters of UCLA, whatever it is, or it's a club sponsored or co-sponsored or somehow connected to the party, then it seems to me we can view all of this data sharing as actually not being sharing at all, but an activity of the party. If I'm kind of uncomfortable with the party giving out any lists or anything to a group that is not somehow connected to us. And I would expect the connection to happen in 2 ways. Either the county party has somebody who is interested in supporting this nascent campus group, and it sounds like they do have somebody namely Dave, who lives in their county and wants to help them. So I'm kind of confused why this can't just be Dave being the campus organizing chair for LA County or something, doing the project with them. If you had a county where, if you had a university in a county where nobody wanted to do that, and it was a state, and we wanted to view it as a state thing, I still think there should be some state person. There should be like a campus organizing committee or something, because otherwise, how do we even know what they're going to do with this information or what they're going to do with the organization once it forms? We wouldn't just give out our data, our either our membership data or registered voter data to some other affinity group that was not campus, like a women's group or a gun rights group or something. We wouldn't just dump data on them if they weren't working with us on something. So why? So I guess my question for Dave is, why can't you just be like their LP sponsor or something and just work with them and do it? In which case, I don't see that it needs any approval from this committee at all.
Okay, well, it kind of gets to the final question on the page, which is, do we do the outreach activities using our tools? And then, they only get information like, here are the people that showed up for their activity. They can collect it. But
well, what other data do you want? What are the other things you're going to expect to get? I mean, like replies to emails or visits to a website? Why couldn't you send out an email from the party to the registered libertarians within 2 miles of the campus or whatever you're selecting,
right,
and say, "Hey, this guy is organizing a campus group. Would you like to be part of it? Would you like to help it? Would you like to be a donor to it?" And ask those questions and get feedback, and then turn the names and addresses of the people who said, yeah, they want it, over to him.
Okay, I can do it that way.
I mean, wouldn't that avoid all of these issues? There wouldn't be a donation to any other committee. It wouldn't be violating any, because Mimi says we can give out lists from L2 because they're really it's really our data. I don't think that's true, because when I get the data directly, the registered voter data directly from the county, I have to sign a bunch of things I agree to, which my understanding is it comes from the election law statutes that says
No, you're right, Joe.
that they can only be used for
correct.
certain things. So if and one of the things I always, when they say, why do you need this information? I say political party membership, organizing, campaigns, and something like that. And that is, it falls within the law. But if this guy decides what his group is about is selling T-shirts, well, no, that's specifically prohibited by the election law. We can't just give it to a T-shirt vendor. So I think this is why I think one of us, meaning a state party activist or a local party activist, should be working with the person, not just giving out data. That's my feeling about that. The other one, the candidate question, I like the idea of limiting it to endorsed candidates. I don't have the knowledge about the campaign finance laws, but I had the impression that a political party or any political committee is allowed to do things on behalf of a campaign without giving things to that campaign. So couldn't we, if we had an endorsed candidate who was not a filing, he wasn't raising enough money to file, otherwise, couldn't we still, as the LPC, do things like mail to all the registered voters in his district and advertise the fact that he's running and give a pointer to his website? Not as a donation to him, but as a campaign expenditure by the LPC. And I thought we had two committees, one that files the FEPC and one that files with the FEC so that we could do that for any candidate. We could do campaign activity relating to that election without transferring any money out of our treasury.
You put a qualifier on there of people who have not filed. Does that really make a difference?
Well, yeah, because Mimi said we couldn't give him the list because that if we give a candidate a list, she's saying that for him to then use to do his own mailings, that under the campaign law, that would be an in-kind contribution to him, which would
Okay,
have to be
so
reported to his as a donation to his committee. But if his committee doesn't exist, how do we report it?
okay.
On the other hand,
Okay.
if we simply do a mailing on our own behalf to say, hey, registered libertarians, there's a candidate running in your district, that's not giving him a contribution. That's us in our capacity as its own political committee doing campaigning, which I'm pretty sure we're allowed to do.
Can I give you answers to a bunch of those questions?
Sure.
And I know, Jude, your hand is up first, but I think that one of the things that you misunderstood is I was talking specifically about candidates, not about that particular club as far as
right.
as
Those are two separate,
completely
different things.
Right. So those are two different things. So as far as candidates, as far as county organizations, those are all under the auspices of the Libertarian Party of California. The stuff that we pull from the Secretary of State or the counties for registered information is under the Libertarian Party, which can then be given to candidates and counties. The difference is that because it's a county organization, that is actually our organization. So we don't have to do any kind of in-kind donation. For the candidates, we do have to do an in-kind donation because that's a separate committee. So that's the answer to the one question. The other thing is that you brought up independent expenditures. Absolutely do independent expenditures. Those can be done by the candidate support committee on behalf of any candidate, any proposition, anything at all, as long as it's done out of the unrestricted funds, and we can do independent contributions, or I'm sorry, independent expenditures that don't go through their campaign at all. It's just through our stuff. So that is absolutely something we can do as well. So I think that a lot of the stuff you were bringing up, maybe I wasn't making myself completely clear as to how it works with campaign finance law. But does that answer like the stuff that you were asking? Because I was trying to be more concise than what I apparently was being before. And
I think it answers my question. I was trying to answer his question of whether he has to do something special.
Well, I think that, and to answer to that question, you're right. If it's an outside group, it would need a little bit something more. I don't think, and I'd have to look, and maybe, Joe, you might know this more than I do, but right now I don't believe in our bylaws or the OPM we have anything about student groups per se, but we could probably add that as a special rule of order to say that we can, actually engage student groups of different, universities, which would then put them under the auspices of us.
Right.
But Dave Schrader, I mean, as if he wanted to sponsor that group, he, as part of our organization, could probably do that. So I think that you're right. That might need a special rule of order, though. I don't think it needs a bylaws amendment. I think it just needs a special rule of order.
Well, especially since most college campuses exist within one county, I don't see why we have to do anything. Why doesn't LIPLAC just do it?
And that is true too. It could just be through LIPLAC, and we can give the information to LIPLAC, and they can decide how they want to disseminate. So yeah, all of those things are possible, and those were really good questions. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't misspeak on what it sounded like. I somehow misspoke, and I wanted to make sure that wasn't the case.
So what does Dave actually need to go ahead with? Well, I think we should talk more about the candidate thing, because several of us have said we don't think we should be giving assistance to unendorsed candidates. So I think that's a more general question. than any of these technical things.
Well, let me jump in here real fast. June has had her hand up for a long time, and then we'll come back around on this candidate thing. Or June, do you have something about candidates?
No, I want to go back to UCLA.
Okay.
If anyone
Uh,
remembers the original message we got from our prospect, he specifically said he wanted to create a Libertarian Party affiliate. So, and Dave has volunteered to be the liaison on the part of the party, and they seem to hit it off very well. So I think that's already established, and we don't need to worry about it unless we have to officially authorize Dave as the liaison in some way. But I don't know that we do. He's just volunteered to take that on, and I think he can do it. The other part is the last I talked to him, he hadn't completed getting the proper paperwork completed for being a student organization. And so we really can't do anything till that happens.
Right.
And I presume that there is no restriction on affiliating with a political party because most campuses have student groups that are, usually the Democrats and the Republicans. But that has to be clear that he can indeed create an organization that is affiliated with the party. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's a
June,
good.
do you remember back in the day that Stanford had a libertarian group?
It was not a party affiliated group. The Stanford group was Stanford Libertarians, and it was open to anyone who considered themselves a libertarian. We worked with the party sometimes, but it was not exclusively it was not a part of the party in any sense. Most of us were, but it wasn't official.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, when I spoke to him, I didn't focus on that, but I did not get the impression that it had to be a party affiliate. It was his goal. He just wanted libertarian discussion groups and stuff on campus. The only thing comparable is the Federalist Society has a group under the law school. So he was looking at that, but there well could be UCLA constraints on what can be done officially. So we'll check it out. I don't want to have to spend a lot more time on this. I just want to get the issues, and maybe next month I'll have more information for a particular motion about what to do.
Can
Fair
you
enough.
say,
All right.
I'd have to go back and look for it now, but my memory is that when he sent that original message, he specifically said Libertarian Party, but I'd have to go back and find it to be sure.
Okay.
Dave, can you
All right.
clarify the timeline on this other one, the Thomas Woodward thing? Is this something
All right.
that he wants to do something with the list right now, or would next week be good enough?
Yeah, he and I, when we were talking, I'll give you a little bit of background. So he is focused on younger people and Hispanics. He is totally on board with helping use his campaign to drive membership for the party. In fact, if you look at his website, right on the top in the middle, it says how to join the Libertarian Party. So and he also recognizes because of the top two, this is a very time constrained operation for only 4 months. So, but he's willing to put a lot of energy into it. So it's a great opportunity for us, my view. And so just like the stuff I'm doing with Pat, it's like, okay, I can pull a list of, and work with him on targeting and try to get the message out. But I want to make sure, number one, all of you are aware of what's going on. So it's totally transparent. And then number two, if there are any rules of the road of how I should be doing this, I find those out sooner rather than later was my goal.
I'd like to hear from some of the other people. People think that we should just be giving out lists to any candidate, whether they've been endorsed or not, or should we wait until they've been endorsed?
Well, it does. My gut says that endorsement is the culmination of a vetting process, right? So a candidate gets vetted through, he ends up presenting to people, we end up endorsing him. And then at that point, we consider him cool enough to start sharing stuff with, start helping out. So maybe this is something that needs to get really revisited in our meeting after the convention.
Yeah,
that
it
first
doesn't
meeting
make any
after the
sense.
convention. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense for this executive committee to go be endorsing anybody when we have a convention in 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm fine with that. I think the other thing we should ask is just what's the campaign plan? What exactly do you want to do with data? Right?
That's definitely a good question to give some thought to. Mimi, you have your hand up, and then Paul.
just really quickly, I think that this is what I was going to say, is that we shouldn't give any information to anybody until they are endorsed, which we haven't endorsed anybody, and we're not going to endorse anybody. And the other thing is, Tom Woodard right now, as far as I can tell on L2 and the information from the Secretary of State that we just got, I still don't see that he's a registered libertarian. So I'm very confused by his candidacy.
No, he definitely is. He sent me the proof of that. He registered
Okay.
back
All right. Thank you.
in the fall of last year. So that actually led to an observation on my part that, the latest version of L2 is not up to date.
No, okay. So I have the newest version directly from the Secretary of State for as of February 6th, and he is not there. So it must be somehow under a different name or something, but he is still not there. It's not an L2 thing because I've got the Secretary of State information. But anyway, but I think that it's all premature until we have an endorsed candidate. That's all I wanted to say.
I'll send you what he mailed me because it looked just fine. It was like the lookup he did with his driver's license, and yep, it says Libertarian Party with his current address. So, okay.
All right, Paul.
I'm confused. I thought we were talking about a UCLA Libertarian Club, not a candidate.
There are two things.
There are two things in the write-up that I sent out. One was because I'm the focal point for people asking, can I? Actually, the student didn't ask for data. He just wanted to spitball ideas around forming a club. But I was the one that said, well, we could probably get you off to a faster start by looking in the L2 database for students who are registered libertarians, who probably would be your target audience.
Okay.
But the other one was the candidate. So talking to Tom Woodard and the inbound mail from Gardner Osborne, who's running for State Board of Equalization, wanted help with data. So I figured I'd just package them all up and we'd have a data discussion, which we've had.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion on this? Since it sounds like there's not really any kind of motion that could come out of this. We'll have to wait on that till after convention. So any further discussion of this point?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dave. All right. So that brings us something that we can definitely have a motion about tonight, and that's an LPCA resolution on ICE. So Joe has written a fantastic resolution. There's a great minds think alike joke in there somewhere. I don't know. Dean Caucus. Yeah, I don't know. But he's got a resolution there, and I think everybody's gotten a chance to look at it. Has anybody not gotten a chance to look at the resolution?
Wasn't that your resolution, Lauren?
No.
From the chair?
Credit where it's due.
Whoever wants to move it, it's fine with me.
Joe wrote the original resolution. I used most of it in the statement that I put out because there was some concern about how to put it out, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, to avoid any question, I'll move it.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor from Joe to adopt
conflict of interest.
I second.
We have a second from Mimi to adopt the LPCA resolution on ICE that was attached. It was attached to the agenda email, wasn't it, Rebecca?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I was going to chance to see that. So we have a motion and a second to adopt that LPCA resolution calling for the abolition of ICE, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Any discussion on that?
Yeah, was it was put out in a press release, right?
No, nobody volunteered to write a press release on it.
I volunteered and the Mimi volunteered to redraft my press release. So
on the plus side,
there's been no press release.
On the plus side,
I drafted it and you changed it, and that's fine. It's got to get out.
But if we adopt this, then that's an event, and it can become a press release.
Yes, it can be issued then.
Totally be a press release. Yes, it can.
Well, that's one thing that really bothers me is like the Communications Committee said that they didn't want to do a press release. Who is responsible for press releases? That's the $64,000 question.
Said they don't want to write them. They expect to be handed to them.
Nobody's going to hand anybody anything. There's no such thing as a free press release.
We have one ready for them right now.
Who said
Beauty.
that?
Is that Terry? Who said
Yes,
that?
once we pass this, then we will have one.
Yeah, then it's a press release. Yeah, I mean,
But we
yeah.
passed it. Why isn't it out?
We haven't
We
voted
You
yet.
said it was out.
We haven't voted yet.
We haven't voted yet. We have
Who
a
is the
motion and
we?
a second.
Yeah, we haven't passed it. This is the first meeting, Pat. I'm
But
sorry to
I don't
interrupt
understand
you,
who
but
is the we.
you're talking about something that was passed. Nothing was passed.
All right, well, who is supposed to pass it or not pass it?
This
We
committee.
do. We are.
Who is
We
the
are
committee?
us, the executive committee.
Exactly.
We are
Well,
about
it's
to.
been out there. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand the delay, and delay is deadly.
The delays,
Well,
we
then we'll
haven't
take
passed
We
it
are
yet.
not allowed to have email motions. We can only pass resolutions in meetings. This is our meeting.
All
Now
right,
we
let's
are
pass it
passing
then.
resolutions.
I don't understand.
Yes.
This delay is deadly.
The
Our,
delay is that we haven't voted yet.
okay.
Well, let's
All right.
vote on it. What's the
all right, Pat,
controversy?
A
we're there,
motion has
Pat.
been made and seconded. We're trying to do that.
We're
Okay,
there,
let's do
Pat.
it then.
It is about to happen. Here we go.
Okay, good.
There is
Patience.
a motion on the. Here we go. All right. I feel like there's a drum roll. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Joe to adopt this resolution calling for the abolition of ICE. We have a second for that from
Mimi.
Mimi.
Right.
Mimi seconded that. Is there any objection to issuing this resolution calling for the abolition of ICE?
I certainly hope not.
Boom! We have created a resolution calling for the abolition of ICE. Congratulations,
Now who's
everybody.
gonna write the
We're
press
awesome. We did
release?
it. I think
This is
that
what
it's.
happened last time.
I think the resolution can just be a press release.
No,
No,
there's a
it
has
format
to
with
say-
press releases.
It has to say the executive committee
Okay.
approved this. It sounded to me like without objection. Does the
This
secretary
is
agree?
what happened last time at
Okay.
the in-person meeting.
June, we're about to take care of it. We're about to
Okay.
take care of it because we're right here. Okay.
All right.
So, Rebecca, you've got that this thing passed without objection. Yes, that's going to show in
Yes.
the minutes. Fantastic. Joe, you wrote the original resolution. Will you package this up as a press release that
I
can
can-
hand off to the CMC?
I can put a paragraph. I can create 2 paragraphs that say that, and then that gets attached to it. But
I love
Can you
I,
put
All
it
right.
on
I,
your website too?
I will do the press release.
Oh.
I do them. I know how to do
Good,
them. I will
good,
do the press
please.
release.
Okay.
That's fine.
If
That's
Joe
even
does
better.
the thing, I will write the thing and I will put it up on
My hand is up.
EIN.
Okay,
Thank you. That's
fantastic.
even better. I wrote the body
Okay,
of it.
so-
You can
so-
write all that.
So
Yeah.
what I'm hearing is, Mimi, you're going to oversee the creation of a press release. Then we'll hand it off. We'll get it going. It'll get done.
I don't know how to raise my hand.
I'm coming to you, Pat. I just
All
want
right,
to
thank you,
I just want to
Bob.
confirm
I know
that
you
that
will.
is in fact what Mimi just said she was going to do.
Like this, Pat.
I just said
Thank you. I can do the
I just
pat.
said that
It's the orange hand that I can't
Okay,
do.
Pat, relax. I'm coming to you. Hang on, Mimi.
okay, what I said is that Joe said he'd put some paragraphs together. I'd like a quote from Lauren. I will put together a press release. I will put it out. I will say that today is Tuesday. If we're going to do it, we need to do it either Wednesday or Thursday. We can't do it Friday, and then we couldn't do it until Tuesday. So let's get this done by Thursday for a press release. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying.
That gives us tomorrow to assemble all the quotes and stuff, or get that stuff to you so that you can assemble it.
Correct. And then
Okay,
I will
fantastic.
put it together and I will put it on EIN. Yes, I
All
can
right.
speak.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so that sounds like we got a plan. All right, so Pat, you had your hand up.
Surely,
Are you cool with the plan as it has just been explained?
I am, but I get to whine a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I'm locked out of the website, which is fine because the website has too many fingers in it. It'll, excuse my language, fuck it up. So I understand that I'm locked out. I don't want to fuck it up. But Mimi, please put this on the website and don't make it so generic and pretty and like, we libertarians are working for a better world, which means nothing to anybody. And then I'm locked out of social media, which is okay, fine. I got enough work to do. I think actually Wesley did put it on the website, on the Facebook page. So let's give him credit. So yeah, put it on the website and put it on social media, and I'll quit whining, which is really hard for me to do because I'm such a whiner.
What I will do is just really quickly to answer that question, because this will be a press release. I will put that I will have Maria put the press release as our newest news on our website that shows
Thank you.
there at the bottom right there.
Just do it. I have faith in you. I have faith in you, truly. I wouldn't want your job.
All righty. Okay. Go us. We passed a resolution. Fantastic.
Hey.
Okay. So, all right. Next on the agenda, we are at probably the last thing on the agenda. Probably we have committee reports. I have committees as needed. There was a final submission of the program report. that I think took into account a number of Joe's suggested edits. So, have people gotten a chance to look at that? Do we want to talk about that? Up and down vote it? What do we want to do with that?
Does it have changes from?
What am I hearing that like nobody got a chance to read it?
I'm
No
asking
shame.
whether it had incorporated any of the things that. Well, I mean, for example, it did not address my question of why do we have these references to particular platform planks, which I thought was out of place. So that, I'm trying to remember what my other concerns were about the. Let's see. I just took a glance at it and it looked like it hadn't changed, so I didn't read it in detail. Does anybody know whether this has changed?
Well, the committee cracked it back open and ran through just a couple of changes because there were some good suggestions that got raised, like
About
like selling off the high-speed rail infrastructure,
right.
correcting the name of the California Medical Board, and
Oh,
so on.
okay, yeah.
We cleaned up the formatting a little bit. There were some concerns
Oh
that they
yeah,
were
okay.
formatted differently.
It
So
did make the infrastructure, the unused rail infrastructure a little better. It didn't say it doesn't say that we want to spend tax money on it. That's good. So we are allowed to we're the ones who actually adopt this. They're just making a recommendation, the program committee.
yes, the executive committee has to approve these.
Okay, well, I really don't like these footnotes to put to platform. I would like to move adoption of this with the deletion of um
The note at the bottom of each
the
one.
deletion of the note at the bottom of each one. Yeah, because it's just a strange thing. It's like we're
Okay.
making excuses as to why it's okay for us to adopt.
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with showing alignment with the national platform, but it's a reasonable motion. So there's a motion then on the floor to adopt this program report with the
Without those.
deletion of the note at the bottom of each entry, which
Right.
is labeled note at the bottom of each entry. So those
Right.
would come
That seems
off.
more like it's an argument for its adoption addressed to us than something that we need to publish.
Okay, so there's that. So that motion is here. Is there a second to that motion?
Is the motion just to amend what's there, or what is the motion?
Now, well,
I guess it's a combined deal. It's to adopt the report, but delete that note at the bottom of each one. So it's the report without the little note on the bottom of each one.
yeah, it's either an amendment or not, depending on whether it was already on the floor. If it's already on the floor because of the committee report, and you consider it to be on the floor, then I'm making an amendment. Yeah, then I'm moving to amend.
Okay, let's do that. So there's a motion on the floor to amend then from Joe to simply remove the little note at the bottom of each plank. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Second from Richard. Okay, is there any objection to just removing the little note at the bottom of each plank? All right. So we'll move ahead with that then. So the report then as it stands without the little note on the bottom of each plank. We'll entertain a motion to adopt this report.
Oh, I think that's now what's on the floor.
It is. Okay, so is that you want to go ahead and call that your motion now, Joe? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, it is what the committee is considering. It's already
Okay, so that's where we're at. This thing is on the floor. So we do need a motion, in fact, to adopt this thing at this stage.
Moved.
No, you need a vote. You need a debate and then a vote. It's already on the floor.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, that being the case then, does anybody have any further discussion about this thing? Okay. Is there any objection to adopting the program report
As amended.
as amended? All right. Then we will call the program report adopted as amended. All right. So any further committee reports or action that we need to take with that tonight? Does anybody have anything needs to come before us?
This isn't a committee report, but can I just say really quickly something about the Whitcomb committee?
Sure.
Okay, so just really quickly, I'm sorry I didn't do a report. I've been a little bit overwhelmed, but Maria has done most of the modifications to the website right now. There's still some more that have to be done, but she's pretty much met her commitment for what we hired her for. So the next step is to put her on for her continuing stuff, which is $450 a month. That has to come through the CSC, which we don't have a true CSC committee yet, so I don't know how we do that. But I wanted to just bring that up. She's done a really great job. I think that the website looks way, way, way better. It's functioning better. She's definitely done a really good job. The other thing I wanted to bring up, because it's been coming up, is that I was finally able to get texting capability for Grasshopper. And Lauren, you saw how that all went. It was really...
Yeah, it's been quite a round and round. Yeah.
So we have full functionality of Grasshopper. So right now, there's only, I think, 4 of us that have complete ability to use it, which is Lauren, me, Mark Hinkle, and Paul, because those are the people that have it. But we can set it up that everybody can text and they can call and they can put it on their phones, and we have full functionality, which I think is really great. So it was a huge win for me, because I spent a lot of time with Maria from Grasshopper support, and I gave her a really good rating because she helped me. Because I mean, this took so long to do. It was like crazy because of government shit. So anyway, we finally got that. So I wanted to just bring those couple things up. I think that, you know, we definitely have things going well. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up is that what we have not done yet, and I don't know if I'll still be, you know, I mean, we're going to have a convention, but I'd like to still be the WITCOM chair, because I'd like to start working finally with TJ to do the testing for Nation Builder to find out if that is what we're going to use or not. So that has not happened yet. So
that is actually,
that is...
This actually brings up a really good point, Mimi. Thank you. Francisco, I see your hand. I'm coming to you. But we've got a bunch of committees in place. They're like just barely in place because of the truncated nature of between conventions here. So I think that it is probably reasonable for us to do some committee appointments in our meeting on Sunday night, in that first meeting that we're going to have. So we can potentially roll a bunch of these committees forward right then, so that we don't spend 60 days doing all the stuff. So if you're on a committee, talk to the people on the committee, see if they want to stay on the committee, and we can potentially do some nominations and some appointments right then, so that we keep continuity on these committees. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I would absolutely love that, because I think that the one thing that got really kind of screwed up is that it didn't used to be that we had to do it right after each convention for all of these committees, like with and stuff like that. But then it got changed that we did that. It used to be that, you know, you could change it after the fact, but you didn't have to redo it every time. So I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
So folks, come to that first meeting. You know, if you're running again and you get reelected, etc., come to that first meeting with some people and we'll just staff out some of these committees just to keep them going, so that we don't have lag. I'm going to go to Francisco first, and then Dave. I see Dave's magic finger, so we're going to go to Francisco first, and then Dave.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's been a pleasure serving with you guys. It's been a real awesome experience. So with that said, I have my room booked for the convention. I'm still not 100% sure if I'll make it, but I would like to run for at-large. So if someone here on this committee would endorse me and nominate me, I mean, I'd really appreciate that.
Please come, and please don't cancel your room. Please, pretty please.
Yeah, like I said, it's still not 100%. But
I will buy your family a pizza, Francisco.
Thanks.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, a question: if reelected, when are we expected to be done on Sunday? Just so I can do plans with other people.
That's a good question. I would like to hope that we could adjourn by or before 5 p.m. And then roll into a first meeting in the 6 or 6:30 zone. and then not go more than an hour.
Let's all
That's
cross our
probably really
fingers,
optimistic.
really.
Very.
Let's
Cross
all
our
cross our
fingers we can do
fingers
that.
really big
Yeah.
time. We've got a lot to do, but I think that that's doable. But I wouldn't count on it.
The silver lining to having a low attendance, and I almost hate to talk about it for fear of jinxing it somehow, but the silver lining to having low attendance is that if we end up with fewer than 107 nominees or delegates present or whatever, then we don't necessarily have to do all the crazy balloting. We've done just big sweeping motions before, and everybody's just in. If we do that, that saves us a colossal amount of time.
It does. And by the way, I want to say, because I have a feeling that Aaron Starr will object to that. He is wrong. We can do it. It's still in the convention rules how we vote. So it's a voting.
I have no doubt that if we tried it, we'll get argued about. But we'll spend less time arguing about it than we otherwise
we
would.
can talk about that afterwards, because
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
definitely not going to have 107 people. We're not.
I suspect that.
So we're not going into Monday?
No.
Oh.
Never. We don't have the rooms for Monday.
Right.
We're done on
The
Sunday.
execcom met on Monday.
We may need to have a conversation, not really for this meeting, but going forward, we're going to have to definitely start talking about 2027 because there are changes that have to be made.
So I can plan on being at work on Monday. Cool.
If that's you're a go-getter, Pat.
Not really. No.
Mimi,
all right.
Mimi,
Okay.
what's the hard stop on the hotel for Sunday night?
Yeah.
We don't actually have one.
You know, actually, that's a good question about parking, though, because parking was $18 a day when we were there for the execcom meeting.
It
Is
is
there
not.
anything for those of us who live in San Diego? Are we going to be paying $18 a day for parking?
No, it's $5 a day. That's in our contract.
How do we get that?
Always have been.
You negotiated it.
was
You
part
tell
of, it was
them
part of
that
the
you're
negotiating
here
rate.
for this.
They were not
You
impressed.
say that you're there for that. By the way, it was not $18 when you. It wasn't $18 when you were there for the XCOM meeting either.
Yes,
you
it
didn't
was.
tell them that you were. You may have
didn't.
paid that, but it wasn't because you didn't tell them you were there for the meeting. It was only $6 a day.
It was all a machine. Nobody asked. You get a ticket, you pay the
Okay.
ticket.
Okay.
All right.
Next
Well, then
time
I'll tell
ask
them.
me.
Mimi told me it's $6.
We'll definitely
Buckaroo.
figure out how to give people instructions for how to get cheap parking.
All
at
right,
the
thank
convention.
you.
Definitely.
I heard I was a curmudgeon, so I have to live up to that.
All right. Okay. All right. So I think we're done committee.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Mimi moves to
Second.
adjourn. Do we have a second from? Did I hear Dave? All right, Dave seconding the motion to adjourn. Objection to adjournment?
No.
It is
Good night.
8:32. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Buenas noches.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everybody.